It's a wonderful morning this day to hear the word of God. And we're reading from the book of Mark, chapter 5, from verse 21. I'm just going to read a couple of verses there. Now, when Jesus had crossed over again by boat to the other side, a great multitude gathered to him, and he was by the sea. And behold, one of the rulers of the synagogue came, Jairus by name. And when he saw him, he fell at his feet and begged him earnestly, saying, My little daughter lies at the point of death. Come and lay your hands on her, that she may be healed and she will live. So Jesus went with him, and a great multitude followed him and thronged him. Now, a certain woman had a flow of blood for 12 years and had suffered many things from many physicians. She had spent all that she had and was no better, but rather grew worse. When she heard about Jesus, she came behind him in the crowd and touched his garment, for she said, If only I may touch his clothes, I shall be made well. Immediately the fountain of her blood was dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of the affliction. And Jesus, immediately knowing in himself that power had gone out of him, turned around in the crowd and said, Who touched my clothes? But his disciples said to him, You see the multitude thronging you, and you say, Who touched me? And he looked around to see her who had done this thing. But the woman, fearing and trembling, knowing what had happened to her, came and fell down before him and told him the whole truth. And he said to her, Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your affliction. And while he was still speaking, some came from the ruler of the synagogue's home or house and said, Your daughter is dead. Why trouble the teacher any further? That is the book of Mark, chapter 5, from verse 21 up until 35. And this is an amazing story about, first of all, the knowledge or knowing that God knows. That's what we're talking about this morning. He hears and he knows. And this morning, we're just talking about him being all knowing. He is a God that has all knowledge. And so, what was happening in this situation is that there was a woman who was sort of like coming in what maybe Jairus would think, you're sort of like wasting time, because I need Jesus to come quickly to my daughter's house, or to my house, so that my daughter doesn't die. And so when you are pressed for matters, or when it's very urgent, sometimes it's very easy for you to ignore the happenings of the day, or sometimes it's also very easy for you to ignore people, because siko baya, I just need to rush somewhere, I'm in a rush, or I need this person that I'm working with to come quickly to my home, or and do something that is very important. And so Jairus had taken time and had come to Jesus Christ, very urgently, because the daughter was almost at the point of death. In fact, she lay in bed almost dying. And so it was very important that Jesus goes to the home of Jairus. And so you can imagine the rush that was in the midst of all this as they walked towards the house or the home of Jairus. And then in the middle of it, a woman who has had issues with blood for 12 years, she's made a resolve within herself. And for her, she doesn't even want the attention. She doesn't even want Jesus to recognize her. She's already plotted. She sat down. She made a good scheme. She also found out a way where she was going to be able to press, beyond the crowds and touch the hem of the garment of Jesus. And that's it, be done. So she also, unlike Jairus, she's not looking for the recognition. She's not even asking for Jesus to stop and talk to her. But then something else also caught my attention when I was reading the story of this woman, is that the word of God says she had spent everything, with physicians. She had sort of like exhausted all her money, and she probably was not even in a good financial position. So she's probably asking herself, what if Jesus asks for an offering? So I don't want to press him because I don't even have money. But again, just thinking about this woman and realizing that she had done everything except Jesus. But Jesus, being so merciful, still extends his healing power towards her direction. And so many times as believers, we have Christ as the last option, and he knows it. This woman was coming to Jesus all wasted. 12 years, she's gone to every physician. She's probably visited I don't know, maybe she's even visited medicine men and everything has worked against her and she's never been healed until now she makes a resolve and says the last option is Jesus. And so as she's going to Christ, Christ understands that even as he's saying you're healed or you're totally made whole or whatever Jesus said to her, he understands that I was the last option. Yani she came to me as the last person. Even this morning, God knows if He's your option one or B or Z. God knows that, first of all, you have a rich uncle. God knows you've tried the rich auntie. God knows your friends. You've gone to them and you've now exhausted everything. God knows you've put up business A, B, C, D without Him. And now you're coming because everything is gone. He knows that. But we thank Him for His mercies because even in His knowledge, He still has mercy on us. Even in His all knowledge and all knowing capacity, He still does not count it against you and say, I will deprive you of the healing. And he still understands how important you are, to the point that he will pause on a mission that's very important, that is life-saving, just to have a conversation with you and tell you, I know you and I love you. And so this was it for this woman. And I feel like sometimes we try every option except Jesus. And I'm not here to tell us and encourage us that since he knows you have to keep trying the other options, I'm here to tell you and I that we can make it easier by just coming to Him first. He says in His word, cast your burdens unto me because I care for you. There is no other person, there is no other man that can say such a thing and mean it except Jesus Christ. And so He's the only one that is not scared of your burdens. He's the only one that is not scared of your cares this morning. And He says it outrightly. He says, don't try me last, but whatever it is, you just cast it to me because I care. And so for this woman, she got the healing even if Jesus was the last option. She got the healing even if she said, let me try for the last time. And not only did she get the healing, but she also got the attention of Jesus Christ. And this morning, God is ready and has always been paying attention to you. He's just wondering, do you understand the power that I have that is able to end your struggle? Do you understand that you can cut the chase and just come to me outrightly and directly, and everything will be sorted out? He knows. And this morning, rest in that assurance that even if it's so bad, He's not scared because He's aware of it and He loves you the same.